What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Rex, and I'm back with another video. We ain't gonna do too much talking. There's no intro. Rex in full effect, but we got queued up right now. Killer son realized cops has found his murder videos. Psh. Hey, before we get this kicked off, do me a favor. Can you like, comment, subscribe, and share to your friends and your dogs for me, please? Get you something cool to eat. You feel me? Lay down. Spend some time with your boy. Let's get to it.
On April 9th, 2018, police in the small city of Wadsworth, Ohio, received a call from an anxious family.
Roger, police.
Yes, this is Howard Leisure. My aunt lives on Portage Street. A friend of ours stopped over there yesterday to check on her, and she was nowhere to be found.
Okay.
He says papers were on the porch for the last 3 days.
What's her name?
Margaret Douglas.
Margaret Douglas was 98. Her relatives, worried that she hadn't been seen in 3 days, called the police to report that she was missing. At nearly 100 years old, her age was usually their primary concern, that she might have had a fall inside her house or otherwise experienced a health issue. It therefore rang serious alarm bells that she couldn't be found inside her house at all.
We don't know where she's at. She's 98 years old.
Did she live there by herself?
She lives there by herself, yeah. And she never locks her house.
Where was she? What did...
She lives there by herself, yeah. And she never locks her house.
She never locked her house. Tripping. Somebody need to go stay with grandma, brother. Y'all tripping.
Where was she? What had happened to her? And what did this Ohio teen have to do with it?
We just have to figure out what's going on with you, okay?
This is the chilling story of Margaret Douglas's tragic demise. Wadsworth is a small, pleasant suburb of Akron, Ohio. With a population of 24,007, its crime rate is around average for all cities across the U.S., with a 1 in 663 chance of falling victim to a violent crime, far lower than the rate in Ohio generally. No one thinks that they will be that 1 in 663, least of all an elderly person mostly confined to her house. But when Margaret Douglas went missing, her family feared the worst. The Wadsworth police initiated a search for her. At 98, she was considered a vulnerable person. They first searched the house in case she'd fallen in a less obvious place, calling her name in the hope she'd answer, but she didn't. Then they broadened the search, canvassing the area for sightings. It became clear that the last sighting of Margaret alive had been on April 5th at her home, and that the last time her friends and relatives had heard from her had been 2 days earlier, on April 3rd, nearly a week before the search began.
Investigators are at the home of a missing 98-year-old woman.
Yeah, there have been a lot of questions about what exactly happened here. We know that a family member was in town right before this woman went missing.
Damn.
On the evening of April 9th, as there continued to be no luck in the search for Margaret, Howard and Cindy Leisure arrived at Margaret's house to help. Margaret was Howard's aunt and had no children of her own, with the result that her nieces and nephews were her closest family and looked out for her like she was their mom. They knew their aunt's habits, such as the belongings she would take with her when she left the house, including a red wallet she used to carry her cards and cash, and the clothes she would wear. Howard went to look in the closet to see what he could find and made a truly tragic discovery. The clothes had been pulled down from the rail to pile up on the floor of the closet. He spotted one of his aunt's shoes beneath the pile and leaned down to take a closer look and discovered his aunt's murdered body hidden in the closet of her own house. The closet was tiny, only 1.5 by 2.5 feet, and Margaret's body had been contorted to fit inside it. She was in her nightgown, which was torn. She had bruises to her head and face and marks on her neck that suggested she had been strangled. The condition of her body showed that she had been lying there dead for a few days, since about the time she had been last seen. Forensics examined the crime scene, taking samples of DNA and fingerprints, which they tested against Margaret's relatives to rule them out. The samples did did not match. Whoever had killed her was at this point unknown to the police. They began to suspect a burglary. This was because Margaret's red wallet was missing. It wasn't surprising that there were no signs of forced entry in the house because Margaret usually didn't lock her doors, trusting in the safety of her neighborhood and the support of those who lived around.
That is some white people shit. You trust in the safety of your neighborhood, so you don't lock your doors to the house. I could never do that. I don't give a damn if I don't give a fuck. It was just me on the block. I'm locking them damn doors.
Around her, she couldn't have known that someone would take advantage to invade her property and take her life. The only other clue in the house was a plastic food service glove discovered in the backyard. This suggested that the killer had had the forethought to prepare for the crime so as not to leave any DNA or fingerprints behind. But in their haste to get away afterwards, they had dropped this key piece of evidence. What did the glove mean? Who had left it there? Had Margaret been targeted, or was this a random killing? To discover the answers to these questions, the investigators interviewed her family.
Does she have a power of attorney or a will or anything like that?
No. We've been telling her she needs a will, she needs this. She never could take the time to do it.
There was no one who stood to gain financially by Margaret's death. She was also a peaceful, friendly person.
Any problems with her? Did she want to argue with people or anything like that? Nothing?
No, sweet old lady.
This was what Howard told the police, and Cindy concurred.
And nobody else, she didn't, have any problems with anybody that...
Not that I know of. She was... Margaret bothered me over me. That's why herself was just horrible.
Let's learn a bit more about who Margaret Douglas was. Born on September 15, 1919 in Akron, Ohio, she had 2 sisters and 1 brother, all of whom had died by 2018. She herself had lived through many of the 20th century's major events: Wall Street crash, the Second World War, the moon landings, and the fall of the Berlin
She's seen a lot of shit in her life. Golly.
Wall, to name but a few. In that time, she rarely left Ohio, but lived a fulfilled and vibrant life there, working at an O'Neill's in Akron as a young woman, which gave her the opportunity to meet a lot of people and suited her outgoing nature. After World War II, Margaret married the love of her life, an Army veteran named Donald Douglas, who worked at the Ohio Match Company. They moved into the house in Wadsworth that Margaret would live in for the next 70 years. And though they did not have children, they were satisfied with their lives together, traveling, going to ball games, especially the Cleveland Indians, and gardening. Donald sadly died in 2000, but Margaret chose to remain in the house they'd shared, since it was situated in a friendly community that held good memories for her. She was close with some of her neighbors, who kept an eye out for her as she got older and more infirm, including a man named David Klinkenbeard, who checked on her a couple of times a week.
David Klinkenbeard. God damn, what kind of name is this? Hold on.
Including a man named David Klinkenbeard, who
David Klinkenbeard. I want to know, somebody had to make this name up. This can't be no real name. Like, Klinkenbeard. Like, how do you even come up with that kind of shit? David Klinkenbeard. Golly.
Who checked on her a couple of times a week, and she knew all the kids in the neighborhood. Howard and Cindy would do her grocery shopping for her as she became more confined to her house, and she relied on this support network to keep herself healthy and safe, never suspecting that someone would try to harm her deliberately. This was a crime that struck at the heart of this suburb, and everyone wanted it solved. The police continued to canvass the area, and they uncovered a string of car break-ins where small items and change had been stolen. They also wanted to speak to David Klinkenbeard, who wasn't answering their calls. They continued to investigate until the officers noticed someone watching Margaret's house, smoking a cigarette. It turned out to be David Klinkenbeard. He no longer lived in the area, but he wanted to know what was going on and had been conducting his own amateur investigation. The The police found this suspicious. He seemed to know details that the public weren't aware of, such as where Margaret had been found and what she'd been wearing at the time. So on April 11th,
No. Not Mr. Clinkenbeard. That'd be fucking crazy, bro. You think nigga your friend and the whole time he just setting you up to kill you, bro. Like, how you know shit like that? Unless you found the body but you couldn't say nothing.
11th, 2 days after she was found, they brought David in for questioning. He said he'd last seen Margaret on Wednesday, April 4th, when he'd come over to help her with her trash cans.
You didn't come by on Thursday or Friday, not Sunday.
No, not Sunday.
He said he'd come by again on Sunday, April 8th, but she hadn't answered the door, and not wanting to go up in case she was in a state of undress, he'd contacted a neighbor to let her know he'd been by instead. By this time, Margaret was already dead. This too aroused police suspicion, but when they tested his DNA against the DNA found inside the glove from the backyard, it was not a match. David was not the killer, simply a concerned friend who wanted to know what had happened. This was not back to square one for the investigation, however. They still had the reports of cars broken into in the area, and one crime in particular was of interest. It had taken place in the early hours of April 8th, the day before Margaret's body was discovered. It was a carjacking, an extreme escalation from the reports of petty break-ins, and it had taken place very near to Margaret's house. The victim was a local man called Paul Shalod. 50 years old, he was a church worker and a charitable Good Samaritan. So when he saw what appeared to be a young man, not even 20, limping down the sidewalk in the early hours of the morning, he told the investigators he pulled over and asked if this young man needed help. This would turn out to be a grave mistake. The second...
Don't do no shit like this, bro. I understand you want to be a good Samaritan, you want to help people out. Don't do shit like this, bro. It's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody limping down the road, you want to pull over and be like, hey buddy, you need a ride? Man, you better tell that nigga, hey, listen, there's the corner store up the street. The nearest hospital is this X miles away. You feel me? I can call, if you stay right here, I can call 911 for you. Man, don't get out the car.
Paul got out of the car. The young man sprang to life and dived for the driver's seat, making off with the car in a flash.
Got your ass.
However, this story wasn't quite adding up. Police found Paul's car abandoned right near the site of the carjacking, undamaged. And when they reviewed nearby CCTV footage, Paul's story was revealed to be false. The young man hadn't been limping, and Paul hadn't stopped to help him. In fact, they'd had a lengthy conversation, with the man leaning into the passenger side window
Paul's a goddamn liar.
Before the man got into the car. A further few minutes passed before Paul suddenly jumped out of the car and the man sped off with it, the only part of the footage that matched with Paul's story. That Paul had lied was highly suspicious. It was the investigators' only lead in Margaret's tragic death, so they presented the footage to Paul and asked him to explain himself. Nervously, he did so, and...
This the church man? Oh, shit. Ooh, buddy, you're gonna be in trouble now.
Turned out to be another false lead. He'd been on an app to try to hook up with men. This...
There we have it. Yeah. Okay. I see why you been fucking lying, nigga. You got a big secret you trying to keep. Nigga, if you gay, you gay. Nigga wanna... That's crazy, though. I don't know if y'all was planning to link up or you just find a random nigga on the screen just like, hey, bud, you want to hook up? God,
was why he'd lied about how he met the young man, because they'd arranged it on the app, and he didn't want his church to know. He told the police that they...
let the church know. The church gonna have to know now. Mr. Paul. He's trying to paw your bunions, huh?
met as planned had begun a sexual encounter inside his
Lord.
car when the man suddenly snapped. He forced Paul out of the car and drove away. Frustratingly, this angle
Paul, a
led the
freaky ass
police
nigga.
nowhere. There was no way of finding out who the young man was or if he'd been involved in the nearby killing. Still, the investigators continued to focus on petty crime in the area, looking for anything out of the ordinary, and they found it. On the night of April 13th, 4 days after Margaret's body was discovered, the police department received several calls about 2 young men behaving antisocially in Margaret's neighborhood. They also received a call about a break-in to a trailer at a nearby construction site, and one of the perpetrators had left their phone behind at the scene of the crime. This phone belonged to a young man called Zachary. Zachary was already known to the police for petty theft and carjacking, but this time they wanted him for something far more serious: the murder of an elderly woman. They found him sleeping in his car in the local high school's parking lot, and they brought him in for questioning. When confronted with the evidence of his cell phone, he admitted having committed the break-in at the construction site, though he denied any involvement in Paul's carjacking, and he did not admit to the murder. But the CCTV footage taken on the evening of April 13th didn't only show Zachary, it showed someone else too. When the investigators revealed they suspected him of killing Margaret Douglas, Zachary cracked under the pressure and confessed that he had an accomplice who had planned all of their petty crimes and had himself done something much worse. This accomplice was named Gavin Ramsey. Gavin was 17, born in March 2001. The second oldest of 4 boys, he'd always been something of a troublemaker and had been attending counseling on and off for the last 10 years. At the age of 10, his psychologist at the time had noted that he'd chased his siblings with knives, presenting a legitimate concern that he might harm himself or someone else.
At the age of what he did that?
At the time had noted that he'd chased his troublemaker and had been attending counseling on and off for the last 10 years. At the age of 10, his psychologist at the time had noted that he'd chased his siblings.
The age of 10 is crazy. Nigga like, what? Nigga fucking playing fucking Michael Myers with his little brothers. Talk about, hey, you run as fast as you can, I'm gonna chase you with this knife. If I catch you, I get to stab you. Nigga, I don't know, bro. Like, yeah, I don't, how y'all even end up like this? Like, sometimes y'all be having, okay, I ain't gonna say y'all be having a crazy childhood or whatever case may be, but for you to be like, damn, I just have the urge to kill something. Like, nigga, what is you talking? Nigga, what is, man, nigga, go play Mario, nigga, you tripping. Like, go, feel me, go chase some bugs, climb some trees, or do something. Go play tag in the park with your friends. Like, no, I got a bloodthirst. I want to kill something. Like, nigga.
Siblings with knives, presenting a legitimate concern that he might harm himself or someone else. Now at 17, he drank and used drugs, and his mother was concerned that nothing she tried was having an effect to better his life. She accompanied him into the interview room when the police brought him in, and initially they only asked about the petty thefts and break-ins.
You guys didn't take anything? Did you rummage through glove boxes or anything?
Maybe like 50 times, but other than that, seriously nothing.
But then they moved on to Paul's carjacking. This was when the mood in the room turned.
We had a carjacking.
Oh my God.
And the suspect.
Oh my God. Stop fucking acting like you didn't know your son was on bullshit. He's chasing your other kids around with fucking knives at 10 years old. You're surprised that he tried to steal a car? Oh my God. Gavin, are you serious? Can't be. I raised you better than that. You know the fuck you did it. You tried to kill his little brother at fucking 10 years old.
Next is a young white male.
This is crazy.
With a nice complexion and blue eyes. that you?
He act like he slick. Hold on.
And the suspect?
This nigga falling asleep right here. He trying to act like he not it. I ain't gonna. The reason why I know he falling asleep, I do this shit sometimes too. I be like, nigga, I be out of there, going crazy, trying to keep my head up, eyes open. I'm tired like a motherfucker, boy. That boy over here sleep.
A young white
Look.
male with a nice complexion and blue eyes.
Get your ass up,
Is that
nigga.
you?
Gavin reacted emotionally.
Upset you so much. Is there something else you need to tell us?
You've already gotten yourself in trouble, so.
I know, and I don't know, but
Gavin asked to speak to the detectives alone. He then confessed to the carjacking with his mom out of the room.
the carjacking, it was me. I'm gonna be honest about it.
However, he denied any interest in Paul's sexual advances.
You guys didn't talk about what kind of sex you were gonna have, or
No, I didn't. I don't know. It's not something I'm interested in. Just the act of him getting the payback. I guess I don't know. That's like it's.
I don't think we can believe you, Gavin. You've been doing crazy shit since you was 10. You fucking doing drugs. You stealing cars. Petty theft. You feel me? Like, if you like niggas, that's not, you feel me? Like, I don't think that would be the craziest thing on the list. If you like niggas, you like niggas, that's it. Like, don't sit there and confess to everything else, and when she say, hey, were you trying to fuck that man? No, I would never. It's cool, buddy, if you like that kind of shit. You feel me? It ain't for everybody, but if you fucking with it, go ahead. Nigga would be saying, yeah, I tried to kill my brother when I was 10, but that guy was trying to hunch me, and I didn't want it. I would never. You met up with him, you was talking crazy, talking spicy online, talking about, oh my God, I'm gonna wear my G-string when I come meet you. Fucking weirdo.
Karma, really. Like, if you're gonna do that, then I'm gonna rob you.
This spoke to an aggressive criminal mindset that he'd arranged to meet up with Paul only to punish him for a perceived transgression. The investigators pushed on to the matter at the heart of this interview, Margaret Douglas's murder.
There's no reason that we would find your DNA inside her house because we swabbed the hell out of that house.
You shouldn't.
Gavin denied involvement in Margaret's murder. At this point, the police only had evidence of his petty crimes, so they let him leave with his mom. But they had one request. They asked to see Gavin's phone. They told his mom they were looking for evidence, maybe that Gavin had been victimized by men like Paul. But what they found would break the case wide open. Gavin's Google search history was full of searches for the Margaret Douglas case. And far worse, his camera roll contained photos and videos of Margaret Douglas herself, taken the night
Oh my God, this nigga's crazy, for real. What the fuck? Some nigga been stalking her. Got pictures of the case. Probably got pictures of her, old pictures of her. Know her whereabouts. What the fuck?
He'd been killed Friday, April 6th. At first, they were shot from a stalkerish vantage point, while Margaret didn't know she was being watched. And then they escalated as Gavin attacked. He strangled her and then proceeded to shoot footage of her dead body, including of a sexual nature. These images and videos were kept in a secret folder named Dark. It was password protected, and its password was murder.
Boy,
The police brought Gavin back in for...
It's like, you do crazy shit, but you don't even know how to do crazy shit. I'm not trying to say you... Boy, what is you doing?
Question.
Did they ever tell us how old he was in this? Like, how old is this nigga doing this shit? Like, bro, you got a whole life ahead of you, fam. Like, I don't know. Cause it's like they said, you 10 years old doing crazy shit already. You got a psychiatrist. She said, yeah, he has a problem. And then your mama acting like you ain't got no fucking problem. And then she's surprised, like, he fucking stole a car? Oh my God. What?
Armed with this concrete evidence, he could deny what he'd done no longer.
So, were you in her house for a little while before you woke her up?
I mean,
We got these niggas sitting on the floor and all this shit, trying to have a cool conversation. Man, y'all supposed to have these niggas in fucking handcuffs, shackles, and all this shit, telling him, tell the truth or you gotta die. You feel me? Like, come on, bro. Y'all niggas is being, I guess, because he might be still a minor or some shit like that. But listen, if he can do some grown nigga shit like kill somebody, bro, I don't think you get the pass of being a minor. You didn't know what you was doing. You knew what the fuck you was doing. It wasn't manslaughter, nigga. You planned this shit. You had fucking videos of the lady. You recorded the shit. You had it on your phone, and you trying to play dumb and all this bullshit.
Came up on the porch, and I didn't even know what I was gonna do. And I looked in the window.
He want to cry. He want to fake cry. I ain't going for that shit. I ain't trying to hear that shit.
It's like the biggest adrenaline rush I could get.
Gavin admitted to killing Margaret, but claimed he hadn't known what he was doing at the time.
Now you don't know what the fuck you doing. Shut the fuck up. We ain't trying to hear that shit.
I didn't even realize what I was doing. It's too late to stop everything.
So when she died, was she on the couch or on the floor?
Floor.
Gavin described in detail the act of killing her when she woke up, horrified to find an intruder in her house taking pictures of her. He also described how he'd hidden her body in the closet, piling clothes on top of her so she wouldn't be found.
It was like adrenaline and shock at the same time. So like, 1 second I'm like, I don't know, adrenaline. And the next thing you know, it's like with overload.
So you just randomly killed an old lady just because, and then you had a. I'm trying to understand this shit to my damn self. So you find a random lady. She ain't never did none of you. You never did none of her before today. And then you fuck around and start taking videos of her, plotting on her, doing this like this, shit like that, shit like this. Woo. In the middle of killing her, you was just, what am I doing? And then you said, fuck it, I'm too deep in. I gotta finish the job. Bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, niggas might be crazy, but I feel like I'm not going for that crazy shit, bro. Cause I got a saying, right? Like, if you real life crazy, you still gonna be crazy when the police come. You're not gonna be like, oh, let me calm down so they don't. No, you're fucking crazy. You supposed to get even worse when they come around because you feel like, oh man, they gotta stop me for what I want to do. You feel me? Like, you supposed to turn. I feel like you supposed to turn up even more. I understand some niggas act calm and shit like that, but if you was already fucking up, going crazy, we say we gonna call the police. Then you talking about, I'm gonna calm down now. Nah, nigga, you crazy. Keep being crazy.
The investigators acted with sympathy to his claims of adrenaline and confusion, coaxing him to open up before he made a further sick revelation.
I didn't know whose house it was at first until...
Had you talked to her before? I know we discussed this a couple times, but...
Because they wanted to, like when I was 13 or 14, going to shovel driveways and stuff.
When he was 13 or 14, he said what? Hold on, let me see if I can put the captions on.
You know, when I was actually doing something good.
Gavin, who lived in Margaret's neighborhood, right around the corner from her house, had known her. Before his turn towards more antisocial behavior, he claimed to have been a helpful kid, helping his neighbors shovel their driveways, including Margaret Douglas. But knowing her attacker hadn't saved her.
I think about it a lot, and I feel like bad about what I did.
No, the fuck you don't.
Like I don't, like I feel bad. I know it's wrong, but I can't express the emotion.
she was here, what would you say to her?
I'm sorry.
I ain't gonna lie, I ain't trying to hear that. I ain't trying to hear that shit, bro. You already did what you did. The only reason you feel bad now because you got caught. Your pussy ass ain't give a fuck when you was doing the shit. You claim you did. So I feel like he might be fucked up in the head a little bit for real, but he know what he doing as far as just like, let me spin this shit so they think like I'm resentful for what I did for real. Like, so I don't get, like, they might let me go because he might, I don't know. I don't think they said how old he was. He still might be under the age of 18. So he just be, oh, they might let me go. Do like a juvie program or some shit like that. Man, lock this nigga up and throw away the key. You feel me? Like, man, this nigga is trying to play y'all. I hope y'all don't, if we get to the end of this video and it's like, yeah, he's only serving 3 years and then he's gonna do a lot of community service and probation, I'm gonna be fucking mad.
That was never meant to happen. If I could take it back, I would.
But Gavin couldn't take it back, and the picture of remorse was complicated by his next admission.
I'll be honest, this Saturday, like...
Hold on.
Just 5 days from now, I was gone. I was leaving.
You're gonna run?
I just needed gas. I needed to get somewhere, and I didn't care what happened.
If the police hadn't found Zachary, and if Zachary hadn't told them about Gavin, Gavin might have escaped without ever facing justice for the awful thing he'd done to a defenseless elder.
But he's sorry though, right? He's sorry. Nigga, fucking liar. Like this. Well, I don't know how if this lady was a good lady or not. They said she was a sweet old lady, but like, she wasn't messing with nobody. She wasn't doing shit. She 98 years old, just chilling in the crib. You want to come in there, record her, fuck her up, kill her, hide the body, and you knew the lady. Like, I ain't gonna say you knew her like that, but you was in the same fucking neighborhood as the lady. She want to sit there and want to be like, oh, I live in a good neighborhood. Nobody gonna do nothing to me. The whole time, this crazy ass boy down the road from you saying, fuck it. He probably looked at her like, damn, she the easiest one I could do it to. She ain't got no family, no friends like that. Here and there people check on her, but by the time they find her body, they ain't gonna catch me. I'm gonna be gone. The nigga, man.
Early lady.
Weirdo ass nigga.
You would have hurt more people. Was that in your plan?
Yes.
I mean, that wasn't in my plan, but I could see that happening.
It seemed the police had stopped a potential serial killer in his tracks.
An arrest made in connection with the death of a 98-year-old Wadsworth woman whose body was found inside of her home. Police say they have a 17-year-old in custody for the death of Margaret Douglas. Douglas's body was found in her Portage Street home last Monday, hidden in a closet beneath various items of clothing.
They placed Gavin under arrest and executed a search warrant on his house, where they found gloves matching the type found in Margaret's backyard. They also found her missing red wallet, stolen from the...
And you're not even a good criminal at that. Like, you have all the fucking... you got the purse, you got all the videos and pictures on your phone. You're not even a good fucking criminal, bro. Like, just do... Like, you could have been doing some better shit with your life. Yet you want to play these kind of games and you want a stupid ass prize. I promise to God, if this nigga didn't get life in prison, or I don't know if he's 17, so I don't think they're gonna give him the death penalty or nothing like that. But if they don't fucking charge this nigga as a fucking adult, I'm gonna be fucking mad.
The scene is a trophy. Related to the carjacking, they found a bottle of Hollister cologne stolen out of Paul's car. And most chilling of all, they discovered a journal in which Gavin had written out biographies of famous serial killers and described his own murder fantasies. On one page he wrote, I just want to fucking go off on someone and beat them until they're not breathing anymore. I honestly want to take someone's life. I want to know what it would feel like to stand over someone's dead body. The year before the murder, he tried to gain employment at a funeral home, possibly to fulfill some of these gruesome ideas. He hadn't succeeded, and
the nigga wanted to work at a funeral home so he could punch on dead people. Oh my God. Bro, lock this nigga up, please.
So he'd taken to the streets looking for victims instead. Although he was still 17, Gavin was charged as an adult with aggravated murder, aggravated burglary, kidnapping, and abuse of a corpse. The DA did not charge him with the alleged carjacking because they did not want to distract from the severity of Margaret's murder. He was arraigned in June 2018 and initially pleaded not guilty. However, when his team's motions to suppress the evidence of his cell phone were denied, he changed his plea to guilty in November 2018. He was evaluated by psychologists in advance of his sentencing hearing and diagnosed with multiple disorders, including conduct disorder and sexual sadism disorder. His mom claimed...
What the fuck is that? Sexual sadism disorder? Hold on, let me see some shit. The fuck is that? Oh no, I spelled it wrong. Hold on. Sadism disorder. Oh my goodness. This condition of experiencing great sexual arousal from a response of an involuntary pain, extreme pain, oh my God, suffering, humiliation of other people.
That her son's actions were as a result of his new Zoloft prescription given to him in January 2018.
However, fucking lying.
Many of the most horrific pages in the journal had been written before that time, and this did not mitigate his sentence. At his sentencing hearing, Gavin spoke, using many of the same words he'd used in his police interview.
I'm so sorry for what I did. I'm constantly living in regret and shame because of it.
He never referred to Margaret as a real person he'd murdered, only talking about it and what he'd done. The judge did not believe his supposed outpouring of remorse. As he'd been 17 at the time of the murder, he was not eligible for the death penalty. But Gavin was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Yes. I feel like he still got off easy, but listen, I guess.
However, in 2021, Ohio Senate Bill 256 was passed, which banned minors from being sentenced to life without parole, making Gavin eligible to appeal for parole 25 years later, in 2043. Margaret's family is firmly against this possibility. Her great niece wrote, "There are criminals who cannot be reformed. Gavin Ramsey is one of them. The law needs to be amended to consider individuals like Gavin Ramsey, who have demonstrated the evil that lies within them, a kind of evil that cannot be reformed or rehabilitated, and allows appropriate justice to be carried out in accordance with the current U.S. Supreme Court ruling on juvenile life without parole." Under the current law, Gavin will be in prison until at least 2043.
So after that, what then? He just get out and just do this shit again? What the fuck?
What do you think about this horrific story?
Bullshit. All of it is just bullshit. Margaret could have... Her name Margaret, right? Yeah, Margaret could have seen 100 years old. A lot of motherfuckers don't get this. I'm talking about cut short because of crazy motherfucker. Everybody want to sit there. Your mama want to sit there and play like, oh no, it's the medication he's on that's making him act up. Bitch, we've been telling you since the nigga was 10 years old, he been trying to do crazy shit. No, he's just acting out. Y'all need to discipline y'all kids some more. Because this shit right here crazy. Nigga having fantasies and fucking drawing pictures and notes and journals and shit of killing people with all of this and woo. And then you want to talk about It's the Zoloft that made him do it. Bitch, your son is not the only nigga on Zoloft or whatever the fuck the medicine called. So why is he the only one trying to kill motherfuckers and nobody else is? And if the doses was too strong, why the fuck you ain't never change it? And then they want to change the fucking law talking about minors can't be charged with what they said it was. Hold on, where'd it go? Oh, can't be sentenced to life without parole as a minor. Man. Hey, I wouldn't say it was me, but when 2043 come, as soon as that boy walk out them gates, boy talking about I'm a free man again. Over with. Walk his ass back inside, or we gonna bury his ass right here. Shit. Got me fucked up for sure.
Should Gavin have parole?
No.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe.
Man, this is bullshit. But anyways, shit pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie. I hate shit like this. Like, they try to change the law, and then people that be doing crazy shit just be like, yeah, he served time, whatever case may be, but it's just like he still got off easy because this nigga supposed to be out of here. In my opinion, like the girl said, the grandniece said, some people are just too far from salvation. I'm not gonna say we gotta take in our hands to kill him, whatever case may be, but we gonna let this nigga free so he can do whatever fuck he want to everybody else, and y'all gonna give him another slap on the wrist. He gonna do a couple years again, and then get out and do the same bullshit again, and y'all talking about, oh, double jeopardy, he can't get charged for the same crime. Ooh, even though this nigga's a repeat offender, y'all gonna make some bullshit up for him to get out of jail again, or people like him to get out of jail again and continue doing the same bullshit over and over again. Man, I'm talking too much. This shit crazy to me. Man, this shit is fucked up. I'm not gonna lie. But hey, I appreciate y'all for sticking with me, watching the video all the way through. Leave a like, comment, and drop Rex again if you made it all the way here. But until next time. I let that girl to death, just feel my casket over his. Drop it in, that money count and give me a chance. Drop it in, that money count and give me a chance. Drop it in, drop it in.